Take a look at this. Now, take a closer look. That figure flying through the air is a crash test dummy. It was sitting in the passenger seat, but was not wearing a seatbelt. That's happening more often than you might think.
I can tell you that I investigated a collision last year where, at a very high rate of speed, a vehicle lost traction, started to yaw across the highway, and tumbled in very much the same manner that we see here on the video. One occupant was restrained, and one occupant was not. The unrestrained occupant was ejected and died at the scene, and the restrained occupant, while injured, did not die.
Dustin Durrett is with the RCMP's Collision and Reconstruction Section, or CARS. When you hear of a highway being closed because of an accident, the CARS team is on the scene, trying to figure out what went wrong.
When we go to a crash scene, we have a number of desired objectives. Direction of travel of the vehicles, area of impact, speed, actions before the collision, whether there's a braking or steering actions before collision. Those are some of the items we try and determine, and using our scene evidence, we would do that.
The CARS team brings a variety of tools to a crash scene, including a drone to get a bird's-eye view of things, and devices for measuring road conditions and other details, like skid marks. They also get information from the car itself, through the so-called black box. It records things like the speed of the vehicle, whether brakes were applied, and when the airbags might have deployed. That accident Durrett investigated last year was one of 77 fatal accidents that RCMP investigated in 2024. That's a big increase over previous years, and in many of those cases, the fatalities were caused by people not wearing seatbelts.
The number of times that I've gone to a crash where, in my mind, had the occupant or a person's been wearing a seatbelt and they would have survived, for me, once is too many. All they had to do was buckle up, and they would have been inside the car versus outside the car, or they would have been certainly not bounced around as much. But ejection, being ejected out of the vehicle with no seatbelt on, in my mind, there's no excuse for that.
Wearing a seatbelt has been the law in Nova Scotia since 1984, but right from the beginning, there was resistance to the idea.
The question is, do you agree with the government's decision to make seatbelt use mandatory?
Oh, I don't agree with them whatsoever.
Why not?
Because I think it's, I don't find it safe myself.
Because it should be a choice. It's freedom of choice in this country, isn't it?
No, I don't.
Why not?
I don't know. I just don't like seatbelts, that's all.
Attitudes have come a long way since then, but last year's statistics show there's still a long way to go.
When I go and I see one that could have been prevented by a simple click of the seatbelt, it's a little bit frustrating. It's depressing, and thinking about, the impact that this has not only on the first responders at the scene, but this person's family now has lost somebody because a click was not heard. It would be nice if more people would be wearing their seatbelts, and if we do have to attend the collision, at least it's because you're injured, not because you've died.
Blair Rhodes, CBC News, Halifax.